Hey there guys, I just wanted to start this video off with a quick disclaimer. This is my opinion. This is not an attack on Scott Cawthon or the fan base. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion and is allowed to enjoy whatever media they would like, as long as it's not putting anyone at harm or marginalizing anyone. Anyway, thank you, and I hope you enjoyed the video. So just a little bit about myself. I was 14 when the series premiered, and I was a massive fan growing up. I used to watch all the game theory videos, and yeah, I did actually watch some Smite's content. Yeah, like I said, I'm sorry. And that's why I have that little disclaimer at the start, because guaranteed my taste in media is much worse than yours. I mean, my Spotify rap is actual garbage. Just like that joke I just made. But as I've grown up and I've started doing uni, I've started doing screenwriting classes, and I've started producing short films. Check the link in the description if you would like to hire me as an editor. I have learned a thing or two regarding storytelling, and I think I have somewhat an authority, at least an educated authority, to make this statement. In my opinion, Scott Cawthon is a terrible story writer, and he is hiding behind a thin veil of lore and messy storytelling to confuse his audience into thinking that he is telling a deep and meaningful story. If this is my opinion, why do I care? Why did I go to all this trouble to write a script, to record this, to edit this, and even publish it?
Because this comment has been living rent-free in my head ever since I saw it.
There are no holes in the plot. There are only holes in your understanding.
Really, Scott, you have crafted such a tight narrative that there are no plot holes. Not just that, Scott, but you've been able to leak this narrative over the course of many years, books, and even games. Oh, that explains why your audience can't agree on the amount of dead kids or their names.
Or even if they've seen the bite of 83 or 87.
But I'm guessing that will all be revealed when we understand the true and hidden meaning behind Midnight Motorist, because that is the only puzzle yet to solve. Am I right, Scott? Tell me the answers. But no, Scott, no, it's Cawthon. The only holes are in my understanding, are in the fan base's understanding of the clear narrative that you have peddled out to us through many books, games, and Fnaf butthole plushies.
I hope that made like half of you guys laugh, because that absolutely just murdered my voice, and now I've got to record this. For the purpose of my argument, this is how I'm defining a production Bible. After having to write my fair share of these, there is one thing that has stuck out to me. I don't think Scott has ever written a story or production Bible. Dev journal for sure, but production Bible, no way. Which is fair, because the first 4 games genuinely feel like he was making it up as he went along. Just to clarify, you don't have to know the entire story when you start. I'm not saying that Scott is a bad story writer because of that. I'm saying that he's a bad story writer because there is no consistency in his story, whilst claiming that all the lore fits together like a perfect jigsaw. Scott, you made a messy story. Just give us some fucking answers for once. Now granted, Scott has said that there have been 2 retcons throughout the history of Fnaf, but honestly, when he says retcons, I reckon he means complete rewrites, because if I showed someone the first 4 Fnaf games in a vacuum, I doubt they would have been able to tell me about the Afton family or Henry Emily. Wait, that's the actual name? Yeah, like 2 first name? Like you had a chance to create a character's last name and you went with Emily? But I get it's not always everyone's strong suit, but like maybe Smith is better than Emily. Like, what? The entire Afton plot wasn't added until Sister Location and the books,
which we were told weren't canon until certain aspects of them turned out to be canon and actually key features to the story, but who cares? That doesn't matter because we were told they were never canon.
The first 3 games told a complete and isolated story until they didn't when Scott made Fnaf 4. At least when Fnaf 4 came out, it was labeled as the final chapter. Scott had concluded the story. It was done. It was over. But what happened? A certain theory came out. On December 15th, 2014, MatPat concluded the Fnaf story by correctly making Dream Theory. I know a large majority of you have probably clicked off now, but thank you for those who are going to stick around and listen. Dream Theory was more than likely the truth and the canon ending in what Scott had planned at that time. But everything changed when the fan base attacked. I believe that the fallout from Dream Theory actually highlights the weaknesses in Scott's storytelling. He just wants to please his fans. And of course there's nothing wrong with that, but it just means that we need to acknowledge that he prioritizes his fans over his narrative. That's why he'll never confirm or deny any of the theories if it's in an interview or if it's on a forum. Because regardless of what he confirms or denies, that part of the fan base that didn't believe that theory will take it as a personal attack. This video is a great example. If this video does numbers, guaranteed there are people down in the comments arguing and telling me that I am wrong for believing in Dream Theory. We literally just witnessed the same thing happen with dual process theory and game theory. MatPat came out of retirement to gatekeep. Now let's look at some circumstantial evidence that proves that Scott prioritizes his fans over telling his narrative.
That wasn't a dig at the theorists of fictional media. That was a dig at true crime armchair detectives.
And the fan base was unhappy, that would be a failure to me. I'm perfectly happy with all the critics hating it and the fan base reacting positively to it.
I genuinely believe that Scott originally made Fnaf 3 as the final game, but he's gone on the record to say that he created Fnaf 4 because he wasn't happy with the jump scare. Okay. Or I could say that he made Fnaf 4 because his audience didn't like the jump scare. We all know how vocal the FNAF community can be, and how susceptible to that feedback Scott is. So, either way you throw it, he tried to make up for that jump scare. And how did he do it? He turned the scares up to 11, over-designed the animatronics, and released FNAF 4. It should be noted that Scott has came out and actually had conversations about his own internal stress and pressure to release games before they were ready. But Scott, you could have just updated the jump scare and not compromised on your ending or story. But instead you decided to overcompensate and make a new game, which ended up splitting the fanbase even further. Scott, you had the best designed animatronic ever, to the point where people actually wanted it in Death by Daylight. You had an amazing ending, the spirits were free, Purple Guy was stuck in the hell that he had trapped those kids in for so many years, but because of the backlash, you even compensated, retconned to the entire story for the first time. The sad thing is that this cycle continues throughout the entire story of FNAF. I don't think I'm alone when I say that FNAF 4 is Scott putting his foot down and saying this is the end and I am out. He was done with it. He wanted to move on. The next couple of games were spin-offs. At least they were. To be honest, the whole spin-off games is still up for grabs because of the FNAF World Halloween update and Sister Location just completely retconning the entire narrative. Disagree with my opinion on Sister Location? Okay. So you're telling me that you were able to deduct that Mike Schmidt was Michael Afton because of the pink slip saying that his odor was the reason he got fired?
Not scientifically possible!
Let's be real for a second. Scott created a story with more plot holes and retcons than the Half-Blood Prince. And like its author, he is refusing to admit that he is human and the narrative has changed from game to game. The whole point of the final chapter was to end it. He even pushed MatPat in the direction of making Dream Theory. But when his audience reacted negatively, he made another game and completely rewrote the story, retconning the Aftons and the Emilys into the narrative. When I first heard about this game, I thought, great, Scott is taking a step back and he's letting someone new handle the narrative and tell their own story. And I thought, great, treat it like a sequel that tells a new narrative, which it does for the most part, but for some reason was still held back by the Afton and Emily plot that concluded in Pizzeria Sim and should have been left alone. You shouldn't have to treat William Afton like a Palpatine and resurrect him for no other reason besides the fact that we need to motivate a new villain. I know that we have Afton, Engram, or whatever taking over Vanny or something, but that's dumb. Make Vanny a new character. Make her with her own motivations. Don't have her mind-controlled or be the daughter of the original villain. That means that she'll never be able to step out of the shadow of William Afton. Imagine you finish playing Far Cry 5 and it's revealed that the villain was actually controlled by Vast the entire time, the villain from Far Cry 3. It would have felt hollow and annoying because the villain that you're going up against isn't the villain of that game, but instead a villain that you saw die back in Fnaf 3. But no, instead you decide to resurrect the old villain and give off the same energy as somehow Palpatine has returned. Fnaf just needs to evolve and move on and tell a new narrative. Did retcon feel like a 5-year-old trying to justify a lie that they told you on a playground? Oh, so why does the purple guy kill?
Well, his name is actually William Afton, and he's uses a metal in animatronics to bring his family back to life.
Mind you, Remnant was only hinted at in the blueprints of the pizzeria sim and expanded upon in FNAF AR. This is the entire motivation for the entire series, but is only hinted through a secret blueprint as an Easter egg. And the only question that rises when you think about it is why? Why Remnant? Because you don't want to alienate your true audience. It's not the kids, it's the parents buying the toys. Because if you distance that audience, then who the hell is going to buy, oh my god, $159 for that? Oh my god, our economy is in the toilet. I'll be the first to admit that I've spent a large chunk of this video just shitting on Scott Cawthon's storytelling ability. But I want to talk about some good that he has done. In the Doco Interview 2.0 I have referenced throughout this rant/essay, there was a moment where he indirectly spoke about his insecurities surrounding the release of the movie and unintentionally mentioned his fears of failure. And I think we can all understand where he's coming from. And we've all had similar feelings. I know I do surrounding this video. I want to say, Scott, you have made a video game that has changed the entire gaming landscape and shown that anyone can make the next $1 million IP. This video might be harsh in places, but at the end of the day, Scott is human and humans make mistakes. He is our generation's J.K. Rowling, minus the transphobia. It is clear that he loves his fans and cares about his community. He is really grateful for the opportunity that was given to him by this franchise. And before I finish this mess of a video, I just want to talk about when Scott did amazing storytelling. The first FNAF game would have these newspaper clippings randomly changed throughout the week. And that was the way that we were told the narrative. That's how we were told the lore. And it was amazing. Similar to the Jaws effect, it didn't show us too much, but also just showed us enough for us to scare ourselves. It was amazing. And it's the main reason why I am here talking to you now about FNAF. Those newspaper clippings led to all of this. And finally, I just want to thank you guys for watching. This is my first video, and I will want to make more. But hey, I like to procrastinate. I also wanted to invite you to share your opinions below. Are there parts of the FNAF lore that you think are messy? Do you think I'm wrong? Is there anything I missed? All that I ask is that you do it respectively. I like to reiterate again, this video is not an attack on Scott Cawthon, nor is it an attack on his fan base. Like I said, I was part of that fan base, but I just wanted to try something new and get my opinion out. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to subscribe or even follow me on Twitch. I really enjoy horror games and I want to start streaming